Hi, you guys. Good morning. Hi. Hi, Marcus. Hi, Julie. I feel like there's like loads of chat happening. I'm like, guys, I just got here. Is this legit? How freaking awesome is this? Whoop, whoop. Marcus, I wonder if she went back to sleep. I just had a little finagling with the live stream, and then my mother called. So I often have like a proper 30-minute to like hour-long chat. I don't know if you guys know, like I have a interesting story around my mom. We're obviously Canadian citizens, and I hope she doesn't mind my sharing her story this morning. She's adopted, so both my parents are adopted. My mother has spent most of her life like looking and searching for her adoptive heritage, or like biological heritage. Her entire adoptive family, they all passed away by the time she was 30. So by the time, right around the time that I was born, her adopted father passed, and that was all the family she had. Her brother is estranged because they didn't really resonate and get along, and so yeah, she's very much a woman on her own. Anywho, I obviously have moved out here and had a series of different like visas and things like that to allow me to stay, and I'm a resident here, which means like I don't have full citizenship, but I have pretty much all the same rights. You guys, I love you. I'm randomly like sidetracked by the. I wonder if she's a snorer. I am a bit of a snorer. Not gonna lie. And I'm a good sleeper. I'm a deep sleeper. Anyway, so basically, like my mom's only living family relatives are myself and my sister. She's currently in Vancouver, but 3 and a bit years ago, Mom made well, actually around 2012, as many of us had these shifts and awakenings start to really kind of amplify around 2012, and just the solstice. But that was a big shifty year as well. And she ended up selling her house, and she sent a shipping container of her remaining belongings to England with an intention to apply to immigrate. And it just so happens that the year that she was making the application to immigrate is the year that I decided to take a leap and go ahead and publish a book. I don't know if you guys know, but my mom's a professional writer and she's an editor. So it was really divinely guided and aligned that Mom was here in the UK to edit the material and basically support me through some of these deeper changes. Now then, part of the healing and the expansion and or integration of our relationship was that the application was denied. So my mom was sent away, and it's pretty brutal. Like we have a fairly strong relationship, and right now she's in service to my sister and niece. So like it's still all like divine, obviously, and like the way I see it, you guys get that of like, you know, she's not right now. She's meant to be in Vancouver, and it's not exactly perfectly where she wants to be because she resonates with England, but she's there, and like she's making the most of it, and there's been so much growth and learning. But part of the reason we speak every day is that she's my mom, and like we work together with All to Love, and she was making an intention to live here, and that would have been her dream come true, and she got deported, and it was a bit of a trauma. Like it was one of those like scary experiences of me getting a phone call from border control. And I'm like, okay, so my Canadian mother, who has been coming to visit me, her daughter, for 13 years, and I'm a resident, and I have a company in the UK, and I'm a freelancer, I pay taxes, all that kind of stuff. And two, weirdly, immigrants, but like obviously they have a right to remain and they work at border control. They take my mom in because she'd made an application in the past that had failed, and then she left. Like, so she stays within all the parameters of the law. And then the next time, because she pretty much used to always visit me at least once a year, October 2017, I get the phone call, like, your mother's been detained. And then they go through whatever they do. And I swear to God, these were just like people having a shitty day, needing to make an example of a privileged white woman, being like, no, we're strict for everybody. So they made up some like, you're gonna try to work, even though in 13 years she's never broken any laws. And the reason that they had detained her was because she openly made the application, paid the money, yada yada, to be all legal and above board to try to set up and make a life in the UK. And they're like, no. And then the second time she tries to come back as a Commonwealth citizen, they deport her. So my mom basically at this moment in time can't come back to the UK without applying for a visa, which she's been traumatized since they held her at border control for 9 hours and then said, you're allowed to stay here to see your kid, and then we're gonna send you back to Canada. And like, this is her dream after being an orphaned child. And you know, like, so anyway, I don't know actually why I'm sharing my mom's story, but there you have it. I speak to mama every day. Not every day, a lot of days. And you guys have her to thank for my awareness, because she was depressive growing up and in and out of hospital and on and off different medications, and has healed her depression through meditation and mindfulness. And our paths have been really intertwined. Bear in mind, I left Canada and like broke the cords with my family, all of my family members, 17 years ago. So, and it's only been through complete separation from the family unit for a good like 8 to 10 years. And then slowly but surely everything started coming back. And we all have different resonant connections with different members of our family. And some of them might feel more bonded, like more strong. And then like any of our husbands and our kids and our, like, these kind of relationships are lifelong relationships because we have lifelong learning with these people. And at this point, fortunately, some of the learning is getting better. And I've worked through a lot of those sort of childhood weird, either looking for parentage for approval or being like the angry teenager who's like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. So been there, done that. I just now appreciate my parents for like everything they've taught me, because both of my parents have actually taught me really important skills, like life skills. And I'm thinking of my dad of being like, my dad worked his whole life, like always super stable, always worked, and like worked hard because it was construction or factory work. So like, when you, again, over time, you start to have utmost respect for the men who've built the world. Right. And like the labor and the hardness and the pain and all that stuff that goes along with it. And being at this point, just thankful, like there again is that privilege piece of like, it didn't come from nowhere. Somebody at some point worked their arse off to allow us to have the world that we have. And then I'm thinking of like when I did a cross country commute. Yeah, I would drive across America to commute back and forth. No. But I have done a couple road trips either through Canada or through America. And I remember having this thought on one of those just long stretches of road of like, oh my God, people built these roads. There was a time on this planet when we didn't have this. And there again is, instead of being all dumpy on the system, be like, let's look at all the bits that we can be in this generation so grateful for. We have roads and buildings and like these things that are already made for us. And then a friend of mine always talks about like, we never do it alone. There's no, any giant would have had to, is it something like stand on the shoulders of giants or, so any of us coming up with these ideas, they've all come from somewhere, which is why ego and like trying to pretend like we know it all is just a big crock of bull. A big crock of bull. So I hope you guys are still here. I have to scroll down because I'm not on it. I'm just like literally rambling on. Clear vibrashe. Go visit mom. She would so resonate with you because we're like sisters basically, or any of you guys on the West Coast, because she's in Vancouver. Does it? I love that. And I gotta say, increasingly, so there's the soul family connection. There's such resonant familiarity with this tribe. And I feel like I've been able to sort of extend my inner circle. So I have these like sort of 3 or 4 besties in physical that I can actually like go do stuff with. And then my internet friends, and it's creating this like, I don't know, maybe 8-fold. more than a handful of friends. Oh my God. But it feels really supported, and it feels like this branching out web of, I don't like using that word web, but like, so be it. It's like this like supported bubble of energy, right? And this is, hi Shikiki Libre, Marcus. I know a couple Marcuses, but I'm like, have you been here before? Have I seen you before? I'm not with my boyfriend. Look at my room. Do you ever see any other person in this bedroom, you guys? Daniel just came from Victoria. Hey. That's on the West Coast. You're in Alberta now. Okay. But Clear, am I delusional? I feel like you're in America somewhere, and then I'm like, wait a minute, are you Canadian? Are you in Vancouver? Did I brain fart that one? Speaking of brain farts, so today's share, let's get to it. Let's get to it, you guys. Huh. Hey Daniel, I'm from Golden, BC. Okay, fantastic. You and Silver Serpent as well are BC girls, which there makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So I wanted to do, because I'm already feeling it, like a build up to these full moon energies, because it's pretty big, shifty stuff, and it relates to the clear outs, the purging, the transforming of density that we've been essentially doing for years, but like intensively bottoming out on the wheel of fortune, and or in this cycle, in this sort of closing out these intense retrograde cycles, which are just like, like, because it's like getting to the finish line. The finish line is there, but then you're just like running on a treadmill, and all these channels are going, next wave, the event, it's all happening, it's coming, and you're like, no, it's not. Where is it? But, and yet collectively, yes, we're still clearing it out, right? Oh, nice. Oh, nice. See, and like, that's making me think, like, a lot of these energies coming in are about family, are about community, are about us finally having these pillars to build upon, which we've actually been preparing the soil, putting the pillars down. There's been like all this work that we've been putting in, right? And now we're just still putting more work in, you guys. Because yeah, so this is the build up to, we know that there's a sense of when the full moons are on approach, illumination is coming. And not to mention, yeah, we've had this depressive energy, which was in a profound way for a lot of us. It really stirred up depression, suicidal thoughts, a very quite real feeling like, I just don't want to be here. Like, no motivation to do anything, no desire to actually live. And yet the weirdest paradox is like being present with it, seeing it, allowing it. So just letting myself be sleepy for days or whatever, and then trusting that it'll be lifted, it'll come out. So we're not defaulting back into control patterns or, come on, like, just power through, MJ. You're such a failure that you need to power through this. No, I'm going, no, I love myself. I'm allowed to just, so what? And I also really got that around these last couple of shares, that I'm like, no doubt we need healing. No doubt we need a bit of deep rest, depression. We've been slaves for decades, potentially. We've been burdened under layers of density for millennia. So it's like, okay, let's take a few weeks or even months or heck, even years to heal, to rest, to luxuriate, to trust that resting, and then I'm randomly thinking about how, like, in my former, in my adolescence, and I'm going back to like 11 and 12 years old. I'd already started exercising obsessively at that age. 11 years old, it was like waking up at 6 a.m., going for a run, going to school, achieving, going and getting the homework done, and then doing dance practice, and then going to the gym for another fucking 2 hours after dance class, and then getting the work done, and doing that every day. And if I couldn't fucking maintain it, I failed. And I would be in that guilt. And you wonder why I was sort of starving and binging. And then why? Because it was all out of control, because there was so much like that I didn't know how to process or deal with, because my mother was ostracized and shunned from society, and all my friends, it's like everyone had the cookie cutter life, so I was just there trying to be like, yeah, cookie cutter, and then going home being like trying to make sure everything was okay, making sure to help mom like get shit done, da 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 da. And then when you grow up, you have all this shit to outwork, as in like, yeah, just realizing that our parents really did the best they can, that they're carrying their own density from that older generation, which was even fucking more rigid and closed off, and like, you know, 50s babies were like the baby boomers, and like that's when like the industrialization really started to streamline our lifestyles into this sort of convenience, this consumerist convenient lifestyle, which again, it bred comfort, but it was comfort under a veil. It was comfort, or it was comfort that was covering up a bunch of bullshit. It was, yeah, comfort fickle. You're getting fickle. It was, yeah, it wasn't anchored in anything. Hence this now times that we're living of complete restructuring. The system's crumbling. Those structures are completely those structures are completely crumbling, and there's some of us, for whatever reason, this intuitive awareness and energetic awareness of now we're putting those pillars in, we over here are getting ready to build the new. And the bifurcation is continuing, which means there's always this timeline split. We're going to continue to see this, but not to be feared. It's conscious choosing. It's just another fractalization of Earth planetary realm of multiple dimension, right? Oh, why, thank you. I'll take that, awakened Hayoka seeds. Yeah, I'm working with the 369 energies, my friend, which is also the primary color spectrum and then the unifying rainbow field, right? And hells to the Yiza. This is, I think, another like aspect of the shift. It's like the wisdom in the young ones is really shining out to me, and more of us, actually, right? You guys know who you are. You see the light in the young ones, and you're part of the guardians. You're here to protect that light and not let it be completely destroyed by a narcissistic system that would have us all believe that we're just meant to make money. Like, that is all. That is all. Just work. Just be a worker bee. You're like, okay. It's like, really? Really? Like, anyway. Yeah, right? Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh, that makes me just like, I feel it. And I think and I know you're not alone, because I've spoken to you and you guys all know, I talk about Katie sometimes. She's like team love. She was really the pioneer of the zero waste course that we created. And then she was the teacher on it. But Katie is a mega sensitive as well. And she's somebody who, one, cries when she sees tree surgery happening. She can actually feel the pain of trees and plants. She saves bees. So she's one of these, and she's taught me how to do it. So I do the same thing. If you see a bee or a bumblebee like struggling on the ground, it's that, again, our pesticides or whatever, they're disoriented. Sometimes they just need a little bit of sweet water, or like a little bit of an apple or something. If you put the bee on the sweetness, they'll they basically get the sugar, and it gives them energy to go keep flying. So they hopefully can find their way back to the hive, I guess. Like, I don't know what I'm saying. And then also, so regarding what Julie's saying here about like how we're bred for the misery, for the unworthiness, it's so true. And Katie's got some nieces and nephews, very family oriented women. And she speaks of this, of like, she sees the changes happening once they go to school. Like the spark, and then as they get put into school, they slowly start to shut down their capacity. The creative, you know, us, like the fact that like we're here getting each other, and yet out there in the world, as it were, we're weirdos, and we're the cray crays, or the weirdos. And I'm thinking, okay, so we're weird for having compassion. We're weird for the fact that we want more people, or everybody for that matter, to be supported here. It's like that expression, none of us are free while others are oppressed. And that is just so effing relevant, I think, for so many of us. I'm like, and none of it enamors me anymore. None of the, hi, friends. I've made a real success of my life, and I know that you want that success as well. So I'm going to teach you how to be more like me. Oh, God. Like, I'm so effing bored of that. And I'm like, could we still not address, like, these deeper insidiousnesses that are so relevant? Because it's true for me and most of us. I feel like it really, really doesn't serve. Like, I shall not rest, as in addressing the underlying systematic issues to me is the ultimate, as far as like, it's not just the education. And this is why I know for truth, I'm like, we cannot blame. We cannot go around pointing fingers. I really believe this. Like, we are all doing the best that we can. It's just that it's like layers and layers, ages of ages, cycles and cycles of this oppressive, narcissistic controller energy, and living under that rule and coming up with various coping strategies and protective mechanisms to survive. And yet it's that now we're rising, seeing it, we're still alive. We've managed to culminate, clear, and heal a very, very dark black hole, you could say, of our denied aspect, and that now is recycling itself. Hence what we're now working with is the new energies. So basically I'm like, woo because we're in are we, is it a 2-year or 3-year, 2019 to 3, right? We're in a 3-year. But Julie, one thing is to remember, girl, you're on it. Like, here, I know it's facing that is like the like, ugh, but yeah, at least we're here. At least we're doing the work. At least we're anchoring into something definitely more true, definitely more foundational, and then we're shifting it around so that we're anchoring it, and we can build the new. I think we're on the good cause. We're on the good fight, and the reason why we're on the good fight is that we're holding space for not just the good stuff. We're actually holding space for the darkest shit. We're going, and this is relevant to some of the stuff that Julie and I discussed, but like, let's just face it and be with what is, but not from this pessimistic, like, well, it's just the way it is. No. This is how it is, and we can change this. Hi, friends. This is how you're going to change over. Oh, good. I'm cracking myself up as well, you guys. Yeah, no, we can't live in the old paradigms, but Clear, this is why we're all being guided together. Like, Clear Vibrations and I are going to be doing at least 1 or 2 retreats together from 2020. You guys want to come to Kawi? So we're going to do Morocco in February 2020, and then we're going to be in Kawi around, am I saying that right, by the way? In Hawaii, one of the islands in Hawaii. We're going to be in Kawi in June around the solstice. So it looks like Alta Love is going to be having these like Alta Love Clear Vibrations collaboration across the niche. We're going to have these just yoga. You don't need much as long as the heart is pure and open. Y'all, we congregate, we come together, we do some yoga, we swim in the sea, we maybe chant and play and sing songs, I don't know, and then we clear out, we have some clearing, and we like vibrate and unify. Then we off we go in our separate parts of the world to become more clarified, light-filled vessels, right? Because that's essentially what we are. We're clarifying all this emotional transformational work, i.e. transforming density. Density is the language I use in hello my book. So the density is my way of just encapsulating the patterns of low vibration control. Limitation from so basically anything perspective or anything perceived through the lens of separation is a density. It's not true. It's false. And then anything that's like, oh, I feel open, I feel aware, I feel miraculous, I feel, that is more aligned with the truth. Yes. And then by consciously choosing, I feel more of this. We raise our vibes, and then yeah, we become more light filled. But I like myself, and I like what I created here with the help of Mima and my tribe, because I never, we never, this isn't like I'm super special about, no. This was like a community effort that allowed me the opportunity to anchor in and write it down. But like, this is an all to love project. It's not like MJ's super special. But basically what I love about it is how simple it is. It's like density. Density is the low vibration. Transformation is the word I use for purging or healing or feeling, is that recognize that in the moment of recognition, whew, I'm sitting with a feeling and I'm not buying into it as truth. I can see it for what it is, and I see the thought form attached to it, and I'm going to detach from all that, and I'm just going to let the waves move through me. That's a processing emotional storm, which is a transformational healing process. Every time we do it, we're going to have a subtle vibrational shift. That's my understanding of it. And a part of the piece I think that it is helpful for people is the idea of the karmic backlog. That's why we get waves, is that it's not just here now present moment that we're shifting. We're actually shifting aeons of energetic density, and potentially, and I would love to be able to get into like an academic research institution to be able to actually like have the technology to prove this, but like there's no chemical process. So if I'm having these emotional shifts that are enlightening the cells of my beingness, then that permeates. It permeates through the field, that we're not just clearing our own energetic density, we're clearing ages of oppression. So I could have a clearing that is actually related to a pocket of the collective, a pocket of the feminine collective, right? Because those of us in our bodies, we are representing different archetypes, you could say. And our healing has to do with healing the shadow aspect of the archetypes that our world would have us believe is the truth of our beingness, right? Thank you, Daniel. And I gotta say, Daniel, it's no surprise, right? Because that's part of why and how we've all found each other, is that there is a line right at the beginning of the book that I don't know why it sticks out to me so much. But it basically is just saying, like, I just have been on this journey and I have been intuitively guided. So nothing was manipulated or controlled. It was all stuff that came through following intuition and then leading me down these paths, including ending up writing this book. And there's a bit in the book that basically is me saying, like, I don't think this is going to resonate with everybody. And I don't think it's even meant to. I don't know that everyone is meant to have the depth of emotional awareness that we all have. And yet what I knew was that, one, like, I have to write this book because it's like a deeper truth from within my 15-year spiritual journey, where I was basically just a student reading text after text after text, deducing, doing my meditation, doing my yoga, being guided, teaching, sharing, becoming ever more reclusive, ever more withdrawn, coming into that clear channel, shifting and releasing, and then realizing this is actually like a cyclical ascension or evolutionary process, right? And even though it's my normality, as I continue to share, I'm realizing it is deep and radical. It's not the normality for everybody else. And yet, because I've been guided to, and like straight up, this is like call. And I've had visions and many downloads in meditation over the years, starting way back in 2012, of actually seeing like the new tribes rise. And like my heart call would be like, boom, like in my meditation, obviously, I'd like stream out almost like a smoke signal, like reach out from my heart. And like, it very much felt like where are you? Where are you? Like, I'm here. We need to find each other. So it's like putting out the call and then intentionally sharing to like find the tribe, right? So it's like I knew there would only be a certain pocket of humanity who'd resonate. But then in that sense, I feel like a lot of us are teachers. So because you somehow I love noodling as well, because you somehow resonate with the work, there's something beyond, as in the higher realms, that are codes that we know. Otherwise, well, how the fuck would we understand what we're talking about? Because it's not convention, it's not historical, it's not in the textbooks, it's not obvious. This is all just like intuitive, like noodlings. And then you guys are like, yep, totally get that. What did Daniel say? Well, look, you describe my current process. I concur. I feel this way daily. I'm like, yeah, Isn't that miraculous? How do we know each other when we've never met? And yet that proves the oneness factor, and that proves our resonance factor as well. By the way, intuition is always true, and intuition locks it down. It really don't matter. Our intuition can actually, this is, and I wouldn't, this is not anchored into like, it's no crystallization yet, but I'm working with the like more expanded aspect of intuitive wisdom and skill, you could say. And I'm realizing that we are all one and connected. Like our intuition could pretty much like zone in. Again, I could just be here in meditation, but my intuition can feel into pockets. Usually I'll know somebody though. Usually have to know somebody in that collective. But yeah, you can noodle out, like intuition can almost feel where different people are coming from and the dominant charge of a dynamic. And then you can also usually root out like where people are coming from, what densities are still carrying. But I'm also realized this is part of why I share what I share, is that I don't think we're all the same. I feel like we all have different intuitive gifts, but that's, I think, why I like to share, because like there's a resonance. So like sometimes me sharing will trigger your guys' memory or like, yeah, like that's happening to me. And I'm seeing it too, like how we share anyway, like comparing notes and saying, this is what's coming through for me. And again, there's a lot of, I want to say like telepathic kind of resonance, because with some of you guys, I'm like, I'll think something and then like later that day I'll get a voicemail and then it's like you guys talking about the stuff that I was just thinking about. April's notes. Marcus. You mean fifth world? Oops, defining things with words, things that create density like statues. Interesting. I love the MJ-isms. Thanks, guys. Oh, okay. So this is like another moment for me where you're just saying about the more we try to define in our words to things. And that was something I was getting within the last couple of days, was that I was very much suddenly aware of it. And it was something my mom was saying to me, but I was really suddenly aware of like, words are limited, always. Quantum entanglement, perhaps. Nice insight. Yeah. But this is where discernment is really heavy duty, right? Because we have to be aware of like intuition is detached to me, and intuition is also very clear. There's no emotional charge one way or another. It's just like this observer kind of witnessing awareness, and then we can feel into it. What were you saying about the words? Yeah, so the words are limited in their construct of reality. They're finite. And so, yeah, basically, this is why we're all intuitively wanting to share more. And yet, more than one of you have actually reached out, and I've actually done this with people as well, about coming up with different tools and techniques and actual exercises to help us hone, our telepathic ability, because we can start communicating on higher levels of wisdom. Higher levels of technology, I want to say, like more advanced aspects of self can begin to emerge through telepathic communication, because words are limited, words are finite. And I think we're pretty good here. I think we're aware of that, at least. And so we can kind of keep noodling and keep noodling. You know, that's a new word for me, but keep shifting. Power Rangers! Where did you get this? I'm sure I just said that to you, but this is, I honestly get these, like, this is what's happening. These congregations, tribes, or constellations are coming together. And I see a lot of really like the people around me right now, and myself included, we're Power Rangers. It's like we spin around and like we have these suits on, or just like, ah! But it's very childlike and innocent and fun, you know? It's not like dark and, which we've been there, done that, and we're kind of over it, right? So the fact that there's that connection. And yes, I completely agree with where Julie is in that. It's creating, the words create the density, but we just, because we've been so attached to the words thinking, we're having to heal from that. So that's just where we're at. I'd say we're still bridging through this healing, and more of us are actually stepping into the healed state. I do want to say this, by the way, remind yourself that you're already healed. Yeah, right. So there we have it. Clear has just affirmed what I talk about. And this is what's fascinating. If any of you are travelers like me, like, and I clocked this pretty early on, where I was like, it's really, words are really limited. As in, when you travel and you don't have words, i.e., communities and countries that speak a different language, it would be pretty, it, as in, it got me. My earliest travel experience was spending 3 months in Germany, and then when I was a teenager, and then it was like a student exchange, and then I did even at that age. I went off. I was in Germany, and then I had another Canadian friend who was in Canada, and like we met up and we traveled around Germany and France for a week or so, and you know, I remember that my German wasn't that good. My French wasn't that sublime, but I remember realizing, oh, there's a lot more to communication than words. And again, words, like, there's a lot intrinsic in, I'm obviously speaking from an English linguistic point of view, not other languages, but certainly in English, and I can guarantee there's the same density web in other languages because of where they're born out of. Um, but there's a lot of inherent kind of enslavement in our language, and I think what's nice is that we can just keep. I know, Julie. What I get is like there's just a lot of noodling, and a lot. Again, this is why we need to get to a pretty open space of like clarity and non-reactivity, because sometimes it can feel critical or like, oh, what's this word, or da da da. But having this real open mind around like, does this word feel right, or does that word feel right? And it's simply only, again, with noodling and sharing this stuff with you guys, and then you feedbacking to me, because one of you guys said something, and it was, we were definitely moving in a momentum that I was enjoying, and then I wanted to tweak. And this is obviously, my mom's a writer, I'm a writer, mom's like a fantastic editor and wordsmith, and so one of you used this one word, and I was like, but there's something, I think it was a word like access, and it gave me this feeling of, yeah, but that word from our conditioned mind still gives the beingness this feeling of, I have to access it, as in, it's like I have to go outside somewhere to get hold of it, which there again is the ultimate illusion of separation that we're all combating within the self, is, wait, but I am that. So how do I just be it and allow it, rather than thinking I have to access it? But there again, there's no right or wrong. It's just playing. It's playing with words, because again, in any given moment, we could be moving into a density pattern or moving into a more light-filled pattern. And every time we have a storm, every time we get triggered, again, let's try not to be hard on ourselves. If anything, let's just try to be present with the fact that, yay, there's another healing happening. It's like you guys, when I get triggered on the channel, and or consciously choose to show up and be like, what? Like, I'm having an emotion and I don't care. And then you guys are all like, yay. And like, you guys are, and some of you guys will get triggered by it, and then you'll have an emotional release, and you're like, whoa, we just cleared like so many decades of fucking density right there. And I'm like, thank God for you guys, because again, the past like witchy patterning would have me take the channel down and like run into hiding, because oh no, they saw my darkness or shadow, I must run and hide away, right? And no, instead you guys are like, sweet. And I'm like, thank you. So deep down, I'm like, this is how I always thought it would be. I'm like, yeah, surely there's got to be people out there who like get what I'm saying and feeling, and don't just want to like, hey, control me. And then and like the controllers. So, but then I really feel this way, that we have chosen every single moment so that we have the awareness that we have to then shine back for our brothers and sisters in the collective, and just be like, we love you guys. Let go of the boo shit. You know, none of the material stuff is actually going to take you anywhere, lead you anywhere, and it's potentially destroying the planet. So we need to kind of take a chill pill, step back and regroup. You know, it's like simple stuff. Oh my God, awakened. Holy shit, this is what I mean, you guys, about telepathic communication, yo. This morning. Wait, who was it? One of you, Aaron, I'm sure one of you actually, like within the last 10 hours, said to me, love the word noodle. You know what noodling really means. And then you're coming out with it. Catch a catfish with your arm in a bayou. So basically, noodling is an expression used about catching catfish, and I happen to know that only because one of you guys actually shared that information with me. I'm like, and now you're a different person, by the way. This is definitely not the same person. You're sharing that information. So, oh my gosh, you guys, like this community is so connected. It is insane, but beautifully so. And this is another angle from the old book of, and this is basically how I deal with when people are like, yeah, but the world, or well, yeah, but you're being unrealistic or you're being delusional. I'm like, guys, we live in a delusional reality. Being in form is delusional because everything is just a projection. So it's literally, but it's like all is as a dominant collective on this planet. All we need to go like, okay, guys, as simple as this. Do we want the world out there to be a delusional, shitty reality where a bunch of people are oppressed and then a few little people just get to be like, we're better than all of you. And then meanwhile, everybody's just like getting fatter and more blind to like, just like buying stuff that just makes them more incapacitated. So it's like, so do we want that delusional reality or or do we want the delusional reality where more of us like kind of skip along? And like, again, my vision forever that I've held is me just being in like this pretty like hippie white dress with probably daisies in my hair and barefoot, just like running around in a field. And now I'm like, yay, I have friends running around in the field with me. And then I'm like, you know, with that infinite abundance, toroidal, infinite energy, which is where we're moving to, I'm like, yeah, one, more eternal youth and like conscious living whilst we desire to be here. And then like everyone just supports themselves and it's easy. Like it actually is easy. And I think this is the biggest head trip is like when we're still hardcore in the 3D, we're like, oh no, blah, 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 military complex system. And oh, it's all entangled, which it is. It's a big, ugly web for sure. But it's not, the weirdest thing is that actually breaking free or facing the conflict just requires us to do it. Once we start anchoring in, once we start meditating, once we start actually doing the work, it will become more clear. And we can be thankful for those that have come before us, for all of the teachers and the wisdom and the people who did break free and the people who are like, no, be like this instead. Those people have been guiding us all along, you know, in one sense, those are our ancestors. And really what we're clearing is the karmic energy imprint from the controllers. And those aren't our ancestors. That's an energetic force that is really born out of our black hole sun, out of our disempowered sense, out of our it's like, oh no, I'm gonna cut off my connection, pretend like I'm like this super lowly being, and then that disconnect is basically like outpouring this control energy to be like, okay, you tell me what to do because I couldn't know. All we're doing, and you see it in the pole shift, you see it in people talking about the new paradigm versus old paradigm. It's a reversal of the world's thinking, which means now we're taking it back. Pull in the energy, the darkness, the fear, transform it from within the self, and then we're starting to birth and look to a more beautiful world, which we could say honestly, we're a collective of humans who are part of this new paradigm birthing, because we're choosing, because we're done with the other. We're done with like the densities Not that we're not still traversing it. We're not in denial of it. We're just, i.e., those of us who have these conversations of like, let's just say for what it is. Let's just be honest about what it is here now. And then we can do something about it, right? Yeah, exactly. And this is like thank God I'm getting to this place, right? Because it's like finally enough of us have cleared enough density where we can actually start to have fun and we can actually play. Because something that I'm aware of with the mass imprinting is that we have to accept, this is more a lesson for me, but I have to accept that the majority of a lot of the human consciousness field, there is a sheeple energy. There are many earthlings who are really just here to be told, and hence the control system where the controller energy has been such the dominant that there's a real sense of needing some love and guidance, you know, until those pockets also go through what we're going through in our integration into sovereignty. So every being still has the potential to be their own leader when they have good leadership. But the way I see a lot of the masses like jumping ship, it's that these communities like All to Love and all of us with our mini communities, and then these how we all interconnect on the internet, we're the communities who like, okay, so say 25 of us or something like that get together in Kawi or Morocco next year, and we make it look really fun, and it is fun, and then we know that the more and more of these Mindfally and A-Fest and all these different new paradigm kind of adventures are taking off because we're getting more and more tired. So all it is that the more fun we're having, the more people are like grid. Life. I was told life is miserable, so I guess life is miserable. And then more of us are going, da da da, life is awesome. And like we have genuine love, so we can just be like, guys. And again, there's a bit in the book of just being like, hey guys, come over this way. And like we're having so much fun. And that all like it's like we amplify the light quotient, right? So all of us vibrating together, we make our light more. It's science, it's physics, it's, you guys know this, you're highlighting this to me. So we amplify. So us just chatting more regular and sharing, it's like amplifying our energetic vibrations, which really is permeating light frequencies into the collective, which more and more people, whether we can see them or not, are going, what are you doing over there? What are these people doing over there? And then we're like, you interested? Are you curious? Come on over, friend. And especially because we're not here to fucking be hard on people or to judge people. It's like let's just be open. And I love the fact that when you guys had an actual like, oh, you shared with me something that I was just like, yes. Oh yeah, it was one of your guys' dreams about, you know, basically walking around new paradigm once we've already established resource-based economy and or like it's shifting. And then when you guys shared how like in that dream, you and I, like we waved an Indian chief or something like that, or a Native American, and they just like acknowledged us back. And there was something about a real time awareness that we did it. The world is a more inclusive place. It's not, again, having rose tinted glasses in any way. It's not about being in denial in any way, but we can get there. We can get to a point where we just live in a more civil, harmonious society and world, right? It's why? Because we're having the conversation, because we are the change. Be the change. We are it. And we know this. We know this by the certain pathways that are opening up in our lives, that we're being given opportunities to address these issues. And in this lifetime, we're not being taken away to torture chambers or burnt at the stake or, you know, for having this awareness. It's no different. That's why these timelines culminate at different trajectories in the planetary alignments, because they're meant to. It's divine. It's way beyond what our 3D matrix mind would have us believe, which is why we're perpetually being asked to let that go. We don't know. And any thought that we do is limited, so let it go. Be in the truth of your knowing. Be in the heart field. I really appreciate you guys sharing your energetic downloads, because there's so much resonance here. It's reflecting back. I'm going to be creating a shout out today because there's a little bit more of an uptake for some coaching sessions. I do want to create packages because I feel like for some of you, it would allow you to have sessions in a regular fashion. And for others, I think it's just about, well, so like straight up, like you guys are my brothers and sisters. So I'm like, in truth, what happened was that I saw someone I love on YouTube, Jean Wiley. I think she's another astrologer. And I just caught one of her posts and she was saying about packages. And I was like, okay, I'll do that as well. I'll just so if you want to work for 3 months or 6 months and there's specific areas of our lives that we're working on, then we'll work on like the monthly amount that feels right and good as an exchange. I like to be super intuitive like that. I also really appreciate those of you who just book, and that's awesome as well. So that's it. I'm gonna send a shout out today. Oh, by the way, if you guys haven't subscribed, please do. Please do subscribe to All to Love. All to Love. The song that I'm singing is a real song, by the way. It's part of how All to Love actually came into manifestation. I was dating a musician named I was dating a musician named Sam Dyden. I'm trying to like remember his website because I want to share the website so that you guys can check out the All to Love album and buy it. Support other people as well. I don't remember, but I'm gonna look it up for you guys. Give me 2 secs, okay? All right, my loves. All my lovelies. I'm so retarded sometimes. Although I don't mean to use that word in like in a bad way. Sorry, guys. How boring is this, by the way? I want the All to Love hoodie. Oh, then I'll put that as well. Well, if you go to alltolove.com/shop, it will take you through, but also the website for the hoodies are here. Again, All to Love will take, I'm just being transparent. All to Love, I collaborate with Rapinoe and T-Mail. So if honestly, it's amazing. All to Love makes anywhere from £2 to $4, maybe 50 or so on a. So when you guys buy a sweatshirt, All to Love makes a little cash. It's not an extortionate amount. However, it's also a good little. It's really, really good company to use. It's a free service within certain parameters because it's not like I have a huge following. So I don't have to pay anything, but they print and deliver. So this between Rapinoe and T-Mail that I collaborate with All to Love, I have like this merch or whatevs, and like again, as All to Love expands, that's a nice little bit. Plus, Rapinoe is a sustainable clothing brand, so they produce sustainable hoodies and cottons and tees, and then the T-Mail is the actual like the site, the internet site that I'm using, and then. Or website rather. Yeah, and it's really easy. You just upload your design and or logo and then put it on your t-shirt, sweatshirt, tank top. Oh, we have an All to Love tote bag as well. So thanks. I really appreciate that when you guys make a move. It just keeps things moving along. So yeah, I'm gonna send a shout out. Was there anything else? Was I gonna add anything? I see. I feel like there was something, but it's gone from my brain-tastic, you guys. Daniel! So do you guys know that I lived in Liverpool for 6.5 years? I went to the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts. It's called LIPA for short. And it's Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney is one of the chairs or something, or like trustees. I don't know. He was one of the like big players. He was one of the big players when it came to like redoing. It used to be the Institute for Boy, and I'm pretty sure him or John Lennon or whatever went to the Institute for Boys in Liverpool. And then it became derelict because Liverpool had a proper like almost like a mini little like civil war almost. Like there was a lot of bad leadership and riots in the streets. Like this area called Toxteth and Croxteth outside of town was like pretty Dodge master. In my early days of Liverpool, like one of my good friends got like egged by Scousers. So Scousers is what Scallies and Scousers is an expression for kind of like, I want to say like less educated, poor, ghetto-sized, and often antisocial people because society doesn't accept them, and so they rebel against society. Clearly, again, I don't like to just outright blame bad behavior for mostly how people would. I always see it with compassion. So anyway, that's Liverpool. And Liverpool, hi Kurt, how are you, my friend? So so Lipa and Liverpool, I was living there, went through this, they are growing, and I love it. It's like my favorite time of day. What did you say, Mike? Daniel, this is going back to Daniel because he said something. Oh, wait. So I lived in Liverpool, and I'm going to get embarrassed doing the accent, right? But Daniel said, peace, love, and blessings to yous. And in Liverpool, so you know how the proper grammar is to say you, and you is plural, right? But the Liverpudlians, i.e. the Scousers, they would say, hey, yous, because it's plural. So you put an S, and I'm just like, but you gotta love them. When I first moved to Liverpool, and the guy I was dating at the time, we were on a bus, a public bus, obviously. And these two women got on the bus. One was black, one was white. And they got in a bit of a kerfuffle. Like the baby prams were in the way. And then they were like, no, like talking at each other. And then they got off the bus. And I leaned over to Peter, the guy I was dating at the time. And I was like, oh my God, brutal. Like they just couldn't understand each other. And that's why they were fighting. And he was like, oh no, Molly, they're speaking Scouse. And I was like, oh, that's English? They speak in English, you know? They talk like that. And depending on where you go in Liverpool, they have like completely different accents, you know? So like, that's kind of a bit more, maybe more of a, so there's the guys who talk like that. They talk really like, they're like, you know, dainty. And they have a lot of like singing to their voices. But then there's like the Scouse, you know, the proper I don't need to remind you guys that I went to acting school, but I'm not Scouse. I'm not like obviously proper Scouse. So there's no way I'd ever get hired for anything above and beyond an actual Scouser. But I'd highly recommend visiting Liverpool. It is a city dear to my heart. There is some phenomenal energy in the north of England. Yes, Roots! Love a Scouse accent, isn't it, gay? Me too. East Coast of Canada does have so many accents, like the Fargo vibes, right? I often did this other accent growing up. It was when I became vegetarian, and I joked around, and I always say, because I was obsessed with spinach and beans, and I'd always, and Newfie, I can't, except I'm trying to think of, all I have is the get in phrase, which was like, oh, fuck, I can't do it. Spinach and beans. Spinach and beans. Do you remember a show called Bobby's World? Is that right? Bobby's World, where I feel like that's some of the East Coast, but I could be wrong, like the Newfie accent. But I had a Newfie. Do you, Daniel? I'm going to check that out. I do a perfect Newf. I remember my final year of high school, we had not an exchange student, like you know, when new kids, they move and then their families come. So this kid's family moved from Newfoundland to Ontario, and he joined our school, and I could barely understand the kid. Obviously our mind and our ability to understand does evolve once we travel more, and once we adapt to hearing more different types of languages. But yeah, this was a proper Newfie kid, and I could not understand him. Is that Is Dabby da built the boat and put in the water. Oh, pretty good. You've spelt it out phonetically, which makes it easier to kind of get. And it's like South African. I love South African accent. In fairness, I prefer South Africa accent to like the New Zealand and the Australian. No diss on. I love Kiwi people. Australia, I'm sure, is a great country and all that. Like, but I don't know why I do this, but then it's no different than like Canadian and Americans get clumped together in our accents. I find like New Zealand, for some reason, New Zealand and Australian super close, but then I also randomly slot in South Africa, because I think it's because my early days traveling when I lived in London and was waitressing. I was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. I actually was doing far too much cocaine and wanting to kill myself, but hey ho. So I think in my early days of travel, I met a lot of Aussies, Kiwis, and South Africans. And so and the South African accent was always the hardest one for me to do. And like, I don't know, you know what you're like in your early 20s and you're just like, South Africans, rah, like you're hot for some reason. I don't know why. I just like the accent. Although, let's be honest, there's some heavy duty effing shit happening in Africa right now. Talk about the pole shift. It's all opening up. Oh, thanks, Daniel. So newfies leave out HS on H words and add them to O words. Honians. And so you're spelling it, so instead of helicopters, it's helicopters. Anyway, I need to watch. Am I right in saying that, you know the movie Fargo? Is that a Newfie accent, my friends? Is that East Coast? So, but then it's different for America as well. Like America has a lot of accents as well, a lot of dialects. Okay. Now that I oh yeah, that's what I was doing as well. Before I don't even know what accent that is, but I'm like, before I was looking for Sam's thing for you guys. There it is. Let me see if I can actually find the tune and play it. Oh, so I know Fargo's American, but is it the same accent as the Newfie accent? No, you're saying. This is, I'm having a party in my room, but this is All to Love is the song, and then I'm going to give you Sam's, he's a talented musician. So, Sam and I were dating. So this young musician, who's just starting out his career, dating me, my yoga teacher, for the first time in my life, actually making money doing something that I quite enjoy and I believe in. And then we met through various circumstances, and it's all kind of like whatevs. And then anywho, I sort of share with him a few videos. This is back in 2012 cusping into 2011 into 2012. I did Vipassana that year as well. And then I share with him a documentary called Zeitgeist, you know, Peter Joseph, you guys, i.e. he's a big pusher of the resource-based economy. Peter Joseph, check him out. But he also has that documentary about Zeitgeist, which I watched way back, again, early 2000s, understanding that the economy is a false construct of separation, and it allows people to control. So basically, it's criminal to me. It's based on stealing from people, i.e. that's where debt comes from. Debt and interest comes from the stealing factor of like taking something that isn't even fucking there, right? That hasn't been created yet. So yeah, that's the falseness of it. But anyway, I shared that with Sam. He ends up having all these awakenings. And then out of the awakenings, he produces All to Love. And at the time, my yoga career was starting to lift off. And I was desiring to make a website so I could put my schedule up and write a blog and like kind of just move into this direction. Back then I was moving in this direction. And then he produces All to Love. And all I knew at the time was that I didn't want a website that had my name in it because I wanted there to be a legacy far beyond my own person. So he produces All to Love. I hear the song and I'm like, that's it. That's what it is. And I said, can I have that name for my company? And he was like, sure, do it. So now All to Love has, what is that website again? All to Love has a theme song. I just, yeah, it has a theme song, so check it out. I'd have to like talk to the guy though. I'd have to like message Sam again to figure out if I could actually use that song as a theme song, but I'm sure he'd be fine. You know. Anywho, check out his music. Go buy some All to Love. All to Love. This, my friends. So go buy your All to Love merch. Be a good subscriber. Be a good subscriber, you guys, and buy some All to Love stuff. Or check out Sam's music. Go check out All to Love and or just send out Care Bear, Heart Love, Vibrashe, hugs. I'm actually hugging my computer, you guys. And wherever you are in the world, sleep well, my friends. I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow. Reach out, book a sesh, and or go to alltolove.com, subscribe to All to Love, and sit tight. I'm going to put some packages together that I feel will help some of you afford the sessions, okay? So I love you guys. I'm with you in heart and spirit, and I'm so looking forward to, and so side note, Clear Vibrations, they're solid as well. They're like, and if I'm being really honest, the hoodies are the best product. The hoodies and the tote bag are the best products. Again, I'm being honest, I'm not too attached because it's not my own t-shirts. I'm just designing stuff, but I really quite like the blue t-shirt, but for me personally on my body, like some of the other tank tops and stuff, I'm not as enamored. So definitely have a sweatshirt. They're the best. I love it, Clear Vibrations. And I'm so looking forward to more time with you guys. Keep an eye out. Clear and I are working on our retreats for upcoming years. And I'm so excited to have this posse of love. I'm like, aren't we lucky? Didn't we do well? Yes. 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 Love you guys. Have an awesome day. Mad love, mad respect. Peace out.